everyone, welcome back to the channel. So yesterday I posted up part 1 of this colour along, so I will link it in the description of this video so you can go back and check it out if this is the first time you're seeing this page. So this is from Fragile World by Kerby Rosanes and it is the Kangaroo Dunart. And we went in with a distress ink background and then put a little tiny tint of the distress ink over all the rocks as well, just to base it and get rid of all that white space. And then we started on this little guy. So we used the Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils. I'll also link them down below in case you're interested in checking out those pencils. But today in part 2 we're gonna do this little one. So hopefully by the end of this video we've got both our little Kangaroo Dunarts done, and then part 3 will be all the background hopefully. But it's a big space, all that background. I'm a bit nervous about it, but let's get straight into this little dude here. So I'm going to colour him the exact same way we coloured this first one. So I'm going to firstly bring you down, bring the camera down, and then we can see this little guy. So first off, as I did with the first one up here, we're going to pick out all the little pinky areas first. So around the ears, the feet and the nose, and we're going to use the Beige Red 132. It doesn't want to focus, there we go. Beige Red 132, and I'm just going to pop a little bit around the nose area and pull it up through there. We're going to pop little bits on the ears, again pull it up, and we can go over this with greys, so don't worry if you think, oh I've put a bit too much pink down there, you can go over with your greys as well. And his foot, we're just going to completely cover his foot in this and then bring some other colours down onto the top bit of the foot in a second. But that's pretty much it for the pinks. Then I'm going to bring in a little teeny tiny bit of this Venetian red. Does it want Venetian red 190? I'm going to put a little bit of this just around the edge of the nose. And again we're going to bring some more colours into this nose as well, but that's it for the Venetian red. Next up, if I can find where the pencil's gone, where has it gone? It's over the other side of the desk. That's fun. Brown Ochre 182. Does not want to focus today, does it, this camera? Brown Ochre 182, and we're going to bring this up further onto the nose. So starting where we just put the Venetian red down, we can even pop some into it and blend it all in. But then we're going to pull this colour up the nose. Again, greys will be going throughout this as well to blend this colour into the rest of the little animal. But we're going to pop some of this colour down. So we're going to have some on the nose, pulling it all the way up. I'm going to put a little bit on the foot at the top, just so we can pull some of that down onto the pink foot as well. Again, we'll bring some greys in there as well, and little bits of pops of this colour on the ears. This is all the undercolours that we're having, so nothing has to be neat at the minute until we start doing all our details in on the top. So as I did with this one, you might notice I've used bits of this brown around the bum here and different little areas on the head, a little bit on the head. There's a little tiny hint of it here. So we do want those colours coming through. It's going to give you some more depth to your animal. So again, we don't need to go in with the hair strokes yet because this is all the undercolours. So just small circular motions, light pressure on this colour. You don't want it to be too stark, and just pick out certain areas where you might want a bit coming through. It's totally up to you where you put it. There's no right or wrong place to put this colour, no right or wrong placement at all. So I'm gonna call it there, I think, on those colours. And then we're going to go in with some blue. So we want some under colours of blue coming through as well. Skyblue 146. You might be able to see that I have used this blue. You can see, if you look closely, you can see that this isn't just grey, it's sort of a blue grey in all the lighter areas. So again, that's what we're doing here. So just pick out your own areas. Obviously I didn't put the blue, or I don't think I did. I don't think I put the blue in the darkest areas because that's where we're going to go in heavy with the grey, so it won't show through where we're going heavy with the grey. So anywhere you think you might be going in with lighter greys where this can show through, pop it down. And again, you don't need to do the hair strokes with this colour or anything, just small circular motions, light pressure, and just lay it down where you might want a bit of it coming through. I think on the back somewhere around here, maybe even merging it into that brown ochre that we've just put down and blending a bit of that in together, and that'll create another colour on its own there that's adding to the tones and textures of the page. I'll pop a little bit around here, and I do want a bit around his face as well, so I am going to pop a little bit of this blue just coming from his nose. I think let's blend it into his nose, just pop a bit around the top of his eye, perhaps around there, maybe a bit there. There we go. Next up, I'm going to use my lightest shade of grey, and this is to get rid of all the rest of the white space. So wherever we've got left white now and we've not touched, we're going to go in with cold grey 231, so over everything. You can even take this colour over colours you've already put down, so you can take it over the blues, over the brown ochres. It doesn't matter, honestly. It's a very light layer of this that we're putting down right now, so it's not going to really change anything about those other colours that are down. This one might be a bit quicker today. I think once you've figured out your colours and how you're going to do it, I think repeating it again is easier. It's not as daunting as going in that first time and wondering how it's going to turn out and all the rest of it. You'll know that if you've done a page with multiple of the same thing on, even if it's a floral and you've got lots of florals, as soon as you've done that one floral and you're just repeating the colours over and over, you'll find it gets easier and quicker. I have got my window open today, so if you hear lots of traffic, that's what it is. It's rainy and dull here today in the UK, but it's still very warm. It's still very humid at the same time, so I can't shut the window. I'll be roasting. I'll be absolutely roasting. Alright, so that's all the white space filled up now, with no white space left on there. It's all got a nice coating of pencil. Next up, I'm just going to take the eyes out. So as we did with this one, I completely blacked out the eye to start with and then put the gel pen in at the end, so it will look quite scary, this little animal, when I first do it. But don't worry, he's not going to look awful forever. We're just mapping those eyes out. It does look scary when you've no whites of the reflections or whatever they are in them. So there, and then I'm just going to pull a bit of this black around the edges like I did with the other one, just like that. And we're going to do this one. I put my own highlights in, just because I prefer to put the little small dots in rather than one big white highlight in the centre. I think it looks more realistic to do it the way that I've done it. Let's pull some more of that colour around. And a bit more there. I'm also going to use this black to pop a little bit more on the nose, so where it's already blacked out there, we're going to go over and deepen it up like that, and maybe a little tiny bit in the ears at the bottom, and then I can add grey to that, and then it'll just deepen some of it up. and in here is quite shadowed. We'll deepen some of that up again with the greys. So next I'm going to go in with my darkest grey, and I am going to give it a little sharpen. It's teeny tiny, this pencil. It just fits in the sharpener, just fits in. And this is the Dark Sepia 175. So with this one, all the line art that Kerby Rosanes has put in, we're going to go over with this Dark Sepia. So we're going to mimic all these little hair strokes that you can see. We're going to mimic those with this pencil. So it does take time. If you go back and watch this, how I did this one, you'll know what I'm about to do. But it does, we do have a messy stage with this, guys, because, you know, it's just, until you get all the layers in, it can start to look really messy. But I promise you it will look like that first one when we've done. So don't be too particular about this, just sort of, you know, you don't have to be very, very careful about following the exact same lines as he's put in. You can just start flicking. As long as you're following, you know, the sort of direction that he's put them, then all is good. If you don't want to keep sharpening your pencil and you find it's getting a bit blunt, just keep turning the pencil round to find your sharpest edge. But you do need quite a sharp pencil to get these in, because you do want it to be quite detailed on the darker areas. I did go in twice with this pencil when I did part one. So I went in like this first, as you can see me doing now, and then put in all my other greys, and then I went back to putting a little bit more of this pencil in on top, just to accentuate some of the lines. I might have to turn the beat round a little bit here. Let me turn you round that way just so I can get a good angle on it. I am left-handed, so I'm just trying to spin it round a bit where it's easier for me. Yeah, so the initial lines that he's put in, we're going with the darker shade, and then all the bits that are left, I've got two more greys. I've got a mid-tone grey and a light grey to go in with, to fill it all out. And then you can even add some more blue in there if you feel you need some more blue in there at the end as well. But I think that's what I did on this one. Try and look at his lines as well. Try and figure out what areas are larger areas with longer lines and which are areas that have got shorter lines, and try and mimic that. But we've got a sort of pattern going on this body where it's like it's going across in lines, and then in between each line we have a little bit of a lighter area, like almost like a reflection in the fur, where the light's hitting the fur and all the other colours are coming through. So down here you can see this has got shorter lines, shorter little lines at the bottom. And it maybe would be a bit darker as well because it's shadowed under there. The light's not hitting him under there. Again, teeny tiny lines coming around the face. So I think quite a few people have already coloured this page. It is a cute one, isn't it, to start with, I think. I kept tying it up for ages, but then I just kept picking out other pages to do first. I've been looking at a bird page in this book as well, which I might do next. So following these little lines that are in this pattern, doing the middle of the nose almost. But as I said in part one, it is time consuming. You have to have some patience to layer up. But I think if you sat down watching a TV show or something like that, it'd be a lot nicer than me sat in silence. Well, almost silence. I'm entertaining myself here. I should have gone live with this one today, actually. Not been live for a long time. Now you can see it's quite dark around the ear, so we're going to get that in with quite a hard pressure. Not forgetting some of these lines over the top of that brown ochre. Don't forget we're going to merge all these colours in. That's your undercolour that's just going to peep through a little bit. It's going to have greys over the top of it. So around here as well is going to be a bit darker, so we can afford to go in with a harder pressure around here. Some shorter lines as well. Just around the face now to do, and a little bit at the back of the head here. This is aching my hand off now, this tiny pencil. I don't know if I ordered another one of these. I don't know if I've got a bigger one somewhere in my set. I'll have to have a look, and if I've not, I'm going to go and order another because it's hurting my hand. It's a favourite colour, this as well, this dark sepia. I use it a lot. Well, obviously, because my pencil's tiny, but yeah, I do use it a lot. gonna fill in some of this here now. I'm gonna buff in a little bit of this colour in there, not using hair strokes right next to the nose. We're using small circular motions and a light pressure, just because there's not really many hairs on the end of the nose, it's a bit smoother. So we're just gonna blend in that colour and then pull it up. We can put a few little hair strokes here. I'm gonna bring some of this colour onto the top of the nose as well. Pull it into that brown ochre. And that's it for the dark colour, and we're going to get into another grey tone now. So the grey we're going to use is, if I can find it, Cold Grey 234. Doesn't want to focus again. Cold Grey 234. So we're going over where we've just been, and we're bringing some of this colour through. So just a light pressure and just following the same direction that the hairs are going in. Filling up some more of that white space, but not all of it, still leaving a few gaps because we've got a couple more greys to get in, and possibly filling it up with a bit more of the sky blue as well, maybe. I'm going around the edges of the ears with this grey as well. You can even go take it over the brown ochre a little bit. So it dulls down the colour so it's not as stark. More of an under colour then, if this is going over the top. Same with the blue. You can see them start to fill up now. And all those lovely colours popping through from underneath. And it's still looking quite fluffy. And like you can see all the texture in his fur still. Let's put grey into that ear a little bit as well. Let's pull some up there. Don't forget the direction of the hairs to follow them the best you can. Oh, excuse me. This cough's getting worse. I think when you put the highlights in the eyes as well, it just brings it to life. It goes from looking like a stuffed toy to a realistic little Dunart. That's what they're called, isn't it? Dunart. Bring some of this just over there as well, over onto the top of the nose again. I'm going to drag some of this colour down onto the top of the foot as well, so just here in the shadowed area we're going to bring a bit of the grey down. Using a harder pressure of this grey around the areas that are darker, so you can see all around here where I'm going in harder with this pencil. And then we're going to go in with our next grey, which is Cold Grey 233. I picked out all the cold greys for this colour along, this little animal. And again, we're just going over everywhere we've just been, filling up even more of that white space. So you can see those blues and those brown ochres blending in a bit better now. Everything's blending in like it's coming from underneath, like it's supposed to do. So I'm going to bring that blue back out again now. So with the Sky Blue 146, I am just going to accentuate some of the areas. And once you like how it's looking, then go in with the very lightest grey, which is Cold Grey 231. I'm going to make sure that all the white space is gone now, so we don't want any white space left. So really make sure that you're getting this pencil everywhere. And last but not least, we're going to go back in with that dark sepia 175 and just pick out some lines you want to make darker, just to accentuate some of them. Let's turn the bit round a little bit. I think when you layer and layer all your colours, I think that's when you get a more realistic look to fur. And obviously the key is getting all those different colours underneath as well, the brown ochre, the blue. Gonna go back in on the eye, make sure we've not gone over and dulled down any of that. I think that's where I want to be with that one, so I think we can get the little highlights in the eye now, and I think that's done. It's looking quite cute. You can fuss and fuss and fuss with pages like this for the longest time. But I think that's where I want to be with it, guys. Maybe a little bit of this dark under here, because we've got a shadow, and then use the lightest grey just to blend it in underneath. I don't like how that's done that actually. There we go. I'm going to get the white gel pen, and again we're going to put a little, in fact, go back in with that black over the eye. Not as dark as I'd like. Yeah, teeny tiny little highlight on the end of the nose, so we'll go for this side. There we go, and then we're going to put the little dots in the eyes. So this eye, I think we might only have one little dot, or maybe a bit like that, yeah. And then like that, and I think we'll leave that little guy as he is. So that's both of them together. Shall we zoom up a little bit? Pull you up a little teeny tiny bit. And that's what we've got so far. So should we carry on and do a little bit of this while we're only at 30 minutes? I think maybe if I start on a bit of the log with my pencils I've got out for that. But that's how those guys are looking so far. Yeah, let's start on a bit of the background, but I'm going to pull this out first because it's gone a bit easier. Let's pull it out the book and bring you down, and we'll start on the log. So here we go, we'll start up here. So the colours I've pulled out to do this, I did pull out a grey, but this time a warm grey. I picked out a warm grey 273 for the logs, and I'm going to pop in some of this burnt ochre 187, and then we're gonna, I might put a bit of ivory in, we'll see. So I'm going to start with the warm grey first. I'm going to put a covering of this on, and then we'll go with that burnt whatever it was. Burnt whatever it was, if you heard me. I just think it's quite nice to sometimes stick to a limited palette where you're not thinking too much about the colours. These are little mushrooms, aren't they? Sticking out. I will use a darker grey of sorts for inside here for the shadow at the end. I think. I told you that second Dunart would be quicker though. I think it took me an hour to do the first one in part 1. I think I picked out the burnt sienna. Was it burnt sienna? No, burnt ochre. I picked out this burnt ochre because I think it'll look nice with the distress ink that's coming through, the colour of the distress ink. I think that'll look nice to pick up on that. Bring you up a little bit. Just coming right down to the edge of the log. We're just giving it a full coating of this grey. Down here. Right, so let's go in with that burnt ochre then, 187. And let's just randomly pop some of this colour in. Blow that away. Randomly pop some of this colour in. So you can see it's going to be a mix of this colour and grey coming together. I'm going to go back in on this and burnish it with a grey tone. I think that'll look really nice. Like I say, there's no right or wrong way to put this colour down. I'm just randomly picking out darker areas and lighter areas to put this colour. So I might pick out and use a hard pressure at the top here, and then I might bring it down lighter so it allows for me to put some grey into this and mix the grey in. And then in all the really dark areas I'll put a really dark, I might even use that burnt sienna again or something like that colour. Was it not burnt sienna? What was it called? What was it? Dark sepia. I might put some dark sepia in there. So this is complementing the distress ink background, and it's picking out those colours that we've used in the animals as well. It's just going to bring the whole page together. This is looking nice. Might be one of my favourite pages, this. Might just be. Out of this book, that is. Out of this book. So we've got, what date we're on today? We're the 28th of June today. So we've got 3 more days if you want to join in with my animal hashtag. Kirsty's birthday animals 2023. Colour any animal from any book or create your own animal artwork or painting, sketch, anything like that. If you tag me in your pages over on Instagram, or if you don't have Instagram, if you want to email me your picture, I will then pop them all in a video at the end of the month. So that's quite fun, isn't it? So I've done a few pages so far. I've done a few pages and I've done a few paintings just to mix it up a bit. Just to try and give people the confidence to enter some paintings or sketches if they want to. And someone, Alison, has very kindly done a llama sketch. Really good, it's really cute actually. So if you go onto Instagram and find the hashtag, you'll be able to see everyone's pages so far, what they've entered for the hashtag. I hope I'm still in frame. I'm going all over the show with this page. I think I'm a bit too much zoomed in now. But you can see how random this is, that I'm just picking out some darker areas, then easing off the pressure and leaving it lighter in other areas. And it gives us room to bring in some other tones to the page. Let's just do that bit up there. I know I didn't base these bits with a grey, but we can go back in with some greys. I've left room, so go back in over the top with some greys there. Let's just get right in the bottom here and then go back to my tree. Do you find that with colouring? You start colouring one area and then you just scoot over to somewhere else and forget, oh yeah, I was actually colouring that bit over there. It's like I get bored and move around the page. I love colouring like this. It's what I like to call easy colouring. It's not, you're not thinking about it too hard. You're just going with the flow. You're going with the flow. Going with the flow, layering up, seeing how things look, adding more. And like I said before as well in part 1, these leaves, I'm going to make a continuation of these colours. I'm not going to suddenly bring a pop of green into those leaves. I'm going to remain, I might put an earth green. No, saying I'm not going to use green. Earth green is like really, let me find it. It's a really nice green, and when it's mixed with grey, it's more like just a, it's not a really standout green, it's like a really muted down sort of green. And you can tell I like this pencil as well because this one is also teeny tiny, so it's this colour and it's really nice mixed with greys or these sort of colours together. It is really nice. It's one of my favourites, that, the earth green. I love it, as you can tell. I think I did actually purchase another of those colours. That colour. I think it's somewhere in my other pencil case. These little mushrooms. Let's get some of this colour on there. Oh, emergency vehicle! That one's especially for Jen, if you're watching. She knows my videos are famous for emergency vehicles going past. Normally I can't get a video in without one coming on. But the last video I put out, the part 1 colour along of this, no emergency vehicles went past in the full hour. And she was like, did I really not hear an emergency vehicle in that video? I was like, oh yeah, I hadn't noticed. But no, there wasn't. And now there is. Now there is. I might actually, now I've got this earth green out, I might pop a little bit of this on here just in certain areas, and you'll be able to see how well it mixes in and creates like this really, well, it's called earth green, and it creates this really like earthy nice colour. See that, how it's just, I love it. So I'll pop a little bit of that in some areas, and then we'll burnish the rest with the greys, one of the lighter grey tones. But yeah, I love it. Just mix a bit in, why not? Bit on the mushrooms. Oh, what have I got? A notification. Arriving today. Children's costume. Yep. Because my son's got a pirate day at school on Friday, so I've just ordered him a pirate costume from Amazon. So that's arriving today. I don't know. The things they make you buy, those schools. He's got loads of dressing up costumes, but he doesn't really do pirate dressing up and stuff like that. He prefers his superheroes, so all his costumes at home are like this Spider-Man, etc. Let's pop some up there. This corner. Need some up here, don't we? Moving the page around like there's no tomorrow. I hope you're not getting seasick. Oh, my daughter's going on a boat tomorrow, talking about seasick. She's going to Liverpool Museum, and she's going on the River Mersey, the ferry on the River Mersey. So I hope it don't rain. I don't think it's due to rain actually. I think the weather so far for tomorrow is cloudy, I think. No rain, just cloudy. A bit of sun at times, popping from behind the clouds, but yeah. So it might be the perfect weather for it. Not too hot and not chucking it down. Right, I'm going to bring a grey in. No, I'm going to do the dark colour first. I forgot about the dark shadowing. So I'm going to use this dark sepia for this shadowing over here. Get this dark colour in. And then we'll mix some of the grey into this, just to make it all blend out properly. There we go, and pop in little bits into the darkest areas here as well. It will all blend in nice with the grey, don't panic. It's like it's stuck out like a sore thumb at the minute, but there's some areas where you don't need to put a lot down, you can just put a really light pressure, and then other areas that you can see are darker, pop a bit more in. You don't have to go crazy if you're a bit worried. Start with as little. Pop a bit more there. I think someone a while ago was asking me if I had a fur tutorial at one point. This would be good to look at to see how I tackle it. If that person who left that comment is watching, I can't remember who it was. I know someone asked and then the comment disappeared. I saw the comment came up as a notification and then when I went back on, it like disappeared. I think YouTube does some really strange things sometimes. Really frustrating. Or sometimes comments might get missed because I'll click on a video and it'll say 3 comments and then it'll only show me 2 comments and I think, well, where's the other comment then? So I'm not sure. If it ever looks like I'm ignoring you, sometimes it just doesn't show me the comments for whatever reason. I do not ignore people, so I'm just putting it out there. I do not intentionally ignore people. Pop a bit more up there. This is looking very atmospheric now. Is that the right word? I think it is. It's got quite a lot of darkness down here. It's a very shadowed area. And then we'll move on to this little bit here. We've not done this bit, have we? Pop some there. Gone awfully quiet all of a sudden. I'm zoned out here. I'm chilled doing this. I'm telling you, I'm chilled. That's what I mean. It's mindless when you're not, you know, really think you're just putting colour down here randomly. There's no putting it in the wrong place or going out the lines here really. It's just, it is very mindless. Right, so I'm going to get the light grey now and we're going to burnish with this Cold Grey 231. So all the areas that are left we're going to go over with this. Oops. Let's just go over this darker bit at the top. And we can get a bit of a highlight on there as well with that, because it puts a little coating on which makes it look like a little highlight. go over onto these little teeny tiny branches. And then I'll zoom you out so you can see properly, because I'm aware that I'm a bit zoomed in right now and you probably can't see the whole effect. So I think that's where I want to be with that. I'm just going to get the Cold Grey 233 and just go back in over the top of some of this. There we go. You can wiggle around with some of the colours if you feel like when you've burnished, because I do sometimes, if you feel like when you've burnished it, it's dulled down some of your darker areas, just pop a little bit back in. So I feel like some of it needs to be accentuated a bit more now. And I think I'm going to leave it at that. Just pop over to this branch and check if we need to deepen anything up over there. I think this one's okay. There we go. So I'm going to zoom out. Going up. And that's what we're looking like so far, guys. So you can see it's quite moody. I don't know, I get a moody feel from it, like very atmospheric kind of feel from it. I think when we've done this bit in part 3, it's just gonna look awesome. And then I'll pop in some white highlights here and there, possibly on the mushrooms. Pop in a bit of white gel pen detailing on the mushrooms to make those stand out. But isn't it looking cute? I love it. I think that earth green just adds a pop of something else as well. It adds a pop of something else to the page. So yeah, that is part 2. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Please do hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.